Right. We're live. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michiels. Glad you're here. We've got all kinds of crazy shenanigans going on right now. Anthony Peregringo's flying around with his phone.
Showing off.
Yeah.
Look at you, show
Super
off.
jealous.
Yeah. Tilt it towards you so we don't get a good view. Hey.
Sean's with us. Sean Nafsker. He's with us. Craig Couch is moderating tonight. Craig Taylor's on the moderation crew. Also, Nick and Andrew Fuller. We got a full house tonight. Now, there is no actual special guest. We're going to talk about some pressing, I don't want to call them issues. We got some pressing needs for discussion. So we're going to do that tonight. How can I help you, sir? Yeah, get to mowing. Yeah, go mow.
Gosh, Dad.
Yeah.
So mean.
He's going to mow the lawn. It's great having kids. So tonight, the show is brought to you by ppgsmoke.com. Go check out PPG Smoke if you're interested in getting smoke machines, chase cams, lamels, float systems. There's all kinds of good stuff. Go check out the website. The show's also brought to you by paramotorprops.com. If you break a prop and you're looking to replace that thing quick and for a good deal, paramotorprops.com is a website you're going to want to get that from. Show's also brought to you by Resurgence PPG. Go check out their website. Resurgence PPG is a 501c3 tax deductible. If you want to donate to them, you're donating to our military, and you're donating to the guys who have put their lives on the line for you and your freedom. And so pretty excited about tonight's show. We're going to get right into business. Before we get started, if you're one of the people in the chat is already blowing up. We're going to be taking the best comment tonight, and that's going to be the best comment is going to win a prize tonight. We're not going to tell you what the prize is just yet, but you're going to win a prize for best comment. Keep it clean, folks. If it's not clean enough for grandma, then you should not be commenting that and expecting to win. We're going to keep it clean. So really excited about the flying season. It is kind of frustrating with the virus thing, and there's a wide spectrum of opinions. A lot of people have the opinion that you shouldn't be flying because there's a chance that you're going to get hurt. You're going to end up in a hospital where you're going to take a bed, and that bed could be used for somebody that might be needing COVID treatment. So in the beginning, they were speculating there's going to be hundreds of thousands of beds needed for every city. And so you shouldn't be doing anything risky. You shouldn't be doing any flying. Then there was the other side of the spectrum where people were like, hey, I'm flying no matter what. I don't really care until the FAA tells me I can't fly. And even then, they'll probably still fly. So there's all kinds of things all kinds of opinions. I'm not going to say what the opinion is, but we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. We're also going to talk about some recent events that have happened here locally, and we want to talk and try to mull over some things that happened in the last few weeks. So with that said, I also want to bring some hope that things are starting to look a little bit better. We're getting some good reports, and you just pay attention to the news. I don't need to give you any solid numbers or anything like that, but it's looking good. Things are coming back from looks like from disaster. So if you're a praying person, you need to be praying that we don't go off the cliff economically and pull out of the nosedive, get back to work, right? We're going to also talk about reserve tossing tonight and some of the dynamics involved. I believe in the last 3 weeks, we've had 2 reserve tosses locally. And so I thought it would be interesting to discuss that. And I want to bury a stigma that is attached to throwing a reserve and put away that idea that it's embarrassing when you have to throw a reserve. It's not an embarrassing thing. As a matter of fact, it's a badge of honor, especially in free flight. It's honorable to be able to say that you've thrown a reserve. And one of my buddies had to throw recently, And his words were, "I'm glad I got that out of the way," because he had never thrown one before. And so I thought it was pretty cool. Anyways, we're going to talk about those things. So glad that you're here tonight. The chat is already going off the tracks. I don't know if it was ever on the tracks. Mom's in there. There's all kinds of people in here. Tom Kubat, welcome. Who else? James Sutherland. Glad that you're here. Ripman Riding. Good to see you, Rip. Christine. Glad that you're here too. I'm just going to say hi to you guys. Normally we have a special guest and we're so focused like a laser beam on everybody, anybody that we're interviewing. But tonight I want to say thank you to all the sponsors and thank you to all the supporters, the Patreon supporters, and thank you for those who give weekly on the super chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you for coming every week and being a part of the show. Looks like there's like 70 people logged in now. And I'm humbled every week when we have a show. So thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys. You realistically are the backbone of the show. If it wasn't for you guys and your participation, I don't even know if I'd be doing this show. So thank you for your participation and thank you for your comments, and love it every time. Jim Furman, what's up, man? Matt Pesky, what's up? I'm surprised Matt's not in the air with Paragringo. Racing with Paramotors, what's up? Mike S, how you doing? You guys are awesome. Charlie Walsh, what's up, Charlie? How you doing, man? Kevin Can Fly's up in here. We are going to send out some invites for the after show, so glad that you're here. If you want to be a part of the after show, send me a message when we get towards the end. So glad that you guys are here. Let's first of all, I want to talk about what we have going on locally. We recently had a guy. He's a veteran pilot. We'll save names and to spare any kind of maybe this person doesn't want me to share what happened. But anyways, took a collapse and had to throw his reserve. He's flying a pretty spicy wing and landed in a place where he was from after landing on his back pretty hard. He was about 2 hours hike to the main road, and then he had to get picked up from there. Now, there was a few things that were involved. Now, luckily, he did have communication. He was flying with a group of guys that does have communication. So he had a radio. He also has a tracker. And then on top of that, he has he's got the radio, the tracker, and his cell phone. So 3 means of communication for his accident. And this has come up in other shows, but I felt the need to resurrect this conversation one more time. Critical to have yourself some kind of a communication device. And if you're flying, I recommend that you have a radio no matter what. Make it a part of your setup. Make it a part of your gear. You check your reserve, you check your helmet strap, you check your chest strap, you check your waist strap, you grab your radio. Now, there's a lot of guys in the old school crew, they don't even fly with radios. They don't care. You ask them, hey, you got a radio? No, I don't have a radio. And so part of it is related to people just maybe they're flying alone. What do you need a radio for if you're flying by yourself? Maybe they've been doing it for years. But now I know for me locally, there's almost always someone at the site, which leads me to this. If you are going to be flying, call somebody, let somebody know that you're going to fly, share it with somebody. And so anyways, he goes, the guy throws reserve. Let me reverse a little bit. The reason why he threw a reserve is because he took a collapse, the wing shot out in front of him, and then it did this gnarly helicopter and twisted up 5 or 6 times. And then he was locked in a spiral and heading towards the ground pretty fast. And so with that, it escalated really fast. He had to throw, and that was the first time that he's ever had to throw. Okay. So having that said, he hits the deck, hurts his knee, hurts his back, and now he has to hike out from where he is. I'm at work and I get a text message from my buddy Paul, who lives on the hill and uses ham radio. And not too long ago, he asked about getting our channel, and so he's listening to our conversation, and he overheard them. He overheard the conversation between this guy and the guys who were still in the air, and he said, "Hey, Rob, somebody went under reserve at Blossom today." And I'm like, "What the heck? No kidding. What happened?" And he goes, "I don't know." So I guess he got on the radio and asked, who is it? What's his name? And so he found out who it was and all that. And I was shocked to hear what was going on. So anyways, I called him about 3 hours later, just wanting to get the scoop because I knew that he was okay and he didn't get air evac'd. And from our chat on Telegram, he was just a little banged up. He was still hiking. It was like 2.5 hours later. And I'm like, I call him and he answers the phone. He's like, "Hey." I'm like, "Dude, are you seriously still out there?" And I'm like, is somebody coming to get you? What's going on? He's like, "Yeah, I'm banged up. I don't know where everybody's at. I'm waiting for them to come. I'm making my way to the road. This is really rough. My legs jacked up, my back's jacked up." And I'm like, whoa, I knew when he went down and I was at work. So anyways, considering that, it made me reflect and really think about what I got going on with my stuff. Do you have enough water with you in case you either have an engine out, or if you're a free flight guy, you have to throw reserve where you can't necessarily get out, or you end up landing somewhere where maybe you can't relaunch, or anything can put you in a position. So having enough water to be able to get you from point A to point B, that's one thing. Radio communications, obviously. There's something that you can do, and I know we've talked about this on other shows, but I just want to bring this again because I think it's valuable. The Garmin InReach, Mini. That's what I use. I wish I brought it in here. You know what it looks like, little orange device. You can actually send text messages from that. And I think depending on the account that you choose, mine's $15 a month. I can have up to 5 text messages that uses a satellite. Literally, I send a ping to a satellite and the satellite sends the message. The place where this guy landed, he really didn't have cell service. I got lucky when I called him. He was still high enough on the hill that there was a little bit of coverage. But once he gets down into the valley, it's done. So you're not able to get an Uber. You're not able to get a ride out. And if nobody knew where he went down, and let's say he went unconscious, he could have it could have been a way worse situation. So I want to encourage you, if you can do it, if you can afford it, especially, go take a look at the Garmin setup and add that to your stuff. Yeah, that's exactly it right there. So the Garmin InReach Mini is there's a lot of options. You can get a full, I think the full account is $40 and it gives you pretty much unlimited, but go look at the website and consider putting that in your bag. Another thing that I was thinking about is being an ambassador, or being a friend. When somebody goes down, and I'm talking from free flight, sometimes we go flying, we don't know exactly where we're going to land. We're going to say, "Hey, I'm going to go XC. I'm just going to take off. The plan is to fly as far as I possibly can." And then you don't really know. It's much better if you could do it with a friend. I don't know, Andrew, have you done much XC flying? You going to do any adventure flying? You're still muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. There you go.
Sorry, I had myself muted.
It's okay.
Yeah, so for adventure flying, not so much recently, but back when I was living in Utah, I do a little bit more. But yeah, I'm not the most adventurous when it comes to, I'm more into the acro game.
Nice. Yeah, so when we're talking about getting into a sport where, even if, I'll give you an example. I landed at the bottom of Blossom, and it happened. I've done this a couple times, and you're not supposed to land down there because it's private property. And I had an unforeseen landing. That's what we call that. I had an unforeseen. It just, everything shut off. I did not make it back to where I was supposed to, and even that alone. I mean, if you twist an ankle bad enough right there at your local site, you can really put yourself in a predicament where, um, it's game over. But here's what I want to, if we've got a situation, this just happened. Okay. And we love Blossom. Blossom is probably the best site. We have people wearing Blossom t-shirts. We have a club for Blossom pilots. We've got nothing but love for this city and this site, and the people that live in Monty Valley and in Blossom Valley. They are the coolest people that you're going to meet. They love that hill. They're preserving the hill for years. They've been protecting the site. They've been protecting El Cap. We have a sanctuary for bald eagles and also for golden eagles and their nesting pairs in the mountain. So we actually have a group that rallied together and got a bunch of money and bought a big portion of El Cap, which is, we know it's the reserve, El Capitan. They purchased the land so that no one can build houses on it, and they've just kept it as a preserve. And we work with them. We were actually, in the last couple of years, we've coordinated with them, and they let us put a weather station up on the mountain, and just an amazing group of people there. The people that live down in the valley, they're fighting against a potential sand mine that they're wanting to put in there. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to stir up the dust in there, and I'm with them. I don't think it's a good idea. Everybody has their opinion. Yeah, it might create some jobs, but I think it's going to stir up more problems than it will jobs. And there's other places where they can mine for sand, but they have fought with. They were going to be putting those gigantic power lines. They were going to drag those through the side of the hill there in Monty Valley, and they fought tooth and nail to get those to have those not installed. They lost the battle on that, and they ended up installing. Those are the power lines that you're always trying to cross just so you can get over to El Cap. Now having flown there a million times, it's just like another hurdle. But these people have been amazing. So here's what happened. A guy has a collapse, a pretty gnarly collapse low on the side of Amen Ridge, and that's at the base of Blossom, and he breaks his pelvis. He has to get air vac'd out of the area. So guys, from what I understand, got on the phone, called 911, took care of the getting a dispatch, somebody to come and help him. They sent a helicopter. The helicopter comes, plucks him. The guy's a Navy SEAL, so he's a tough cookie. Didn't really phase him. He gets taken. He was in good spirits. Took him to the hospital, got him some drugs. He's good to go. He's recovering as we speak. The following day, another guy, a local guy, was flying there, gets low in the same area on Amen Ridge, and lands on Amen Ridge successfully, not injured. And somebody from the valley thought that he had crashed and contacted 911. And so this guy's standing down there, and a helicopter shows up to rescue him. And so there's some disconnects. And I'm tonight on this show, what I'm hoping to do is to make the connections. One of the things that we're doing actively as a local in that site is so important to me, and is just, I mean, the fact that you can fly with eagles, this is the dream that you can't even really wrap your mind around how amazing this place is. People are hiking, people are rock climbing, people are riding horses, and there, I mean, it is just, it's breathtaking, this whole area. And so we want nothing more than to preserve what we have there. Um, we have a great relationship with the people that are in the valley. We have a great relationship with the people on the ridge. And one of the things that I want to kind of get rid of the stigma that we're just rogue pilots, that we're out there just, you know, we're the skydivers that launch our skydiving gear off the side of the mountain. We're very organized. We have a club. Each of us has insurance. Very rarely do we have people that are flying that don't have an insurance through USHPA. And that's the United States Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association. The recommended level of your flying skills is a P4, which is it's a higher rank of being a pilot. And so we're flying with radios. We're flying with navigation devices. We have our cell phones. We have a plan in case things go down. And so I wanted to stir up the conversation and bring to the table some of the ideas of how we can preserve sites, just talking about Blossom and free flight, but also for paramotoring sites. And I know we talk about this all the time, but this is such a critical situation, and it's fresh on my mind. So I wanted to, and if you guys want to chime in, what is it that you can do? What is it that we can do as pilots, being ambassadors of such an amazing sport? What can we do to make it easier and keep sites open? One thing that I recommend is to get involved in your club, right? So San Diego has a chapter that's under USHPA, and it's the San Diego Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association. And they do a pretty good job of organizing events, and they're fighting for launches and landings and working with the city officials to make sure that we're compliant with what they want and our insurance needs, and fighting for the different legal aspects to make sure that everything is all on the table, that there's no places getting shut down for no reason. Just, they do a bunch of stuff. You can go to their website. Maybe I'll put a link in the description, or if one of you guys want to pull up the San Diego Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association website up and just drop that link in there. Being involved, it's more than just showing up and flying that you're being a good ambassador. Putting in some legwork. The other day, they had to put a letter out, because we don't want to be flying at Blossom, and anytime somebody lands on the side of the hill, you know, a helicopter showing up because the appearance of someone crashing. So obviously there was something wrong with that. So we were able to get in contact with the sheriff's department, and we talked to them and let them know that if we ever have somebody landing down there moving forward, that we're going to actually preemptively call 911 and say, hey, just to let you know, if you get a phone call for a need for a rescue, you don't have to send anybody. It was somebody who landed purposely, or had an unexpected landing, but they're okay. Something else that we're going to be doing is obviously not moving forward, not landing in areas down low where we are not permitted to land. And this can go for paramotors as well. So we're talking about flying paramotors in a whatever state, just fill in the blank. There's rules and regulations. I watched Anthony Vella. He flew here recently. I think it was in Ventura. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. But he was here somewhere in Southern California. And while he was here, he did the right thing. He contacted the tower. He went to a local airfield where the ultralights fly out of, and then he got permission to fly, and figured out what his altitude that he could fly out, and he gave the tower all the details of what his plans were. He was going to be flying by himself. He was going to keep it below 300 feet. He was only going to fly for 20 minutes, and he was flying over some park, and the rest is history. But anyways, most of our flying can be really positive experiences, but every once in a while there's things that come up that we can change, we can clean up, and we can do better. So anyways, I know I just rambled on for a long time. Let me real quick give a shout out to the guys at flymyppg.com. Mike Cotter and his team run a school in Michigan. Go check out their website if you're in that area and you want to get some top-notch training. I know that they're training guys even now, so go check out their website, flymyppg.com. Link in the description. Show is also brought to you by Nebraska PPG. Josh Bowden and his guys, they have a great team also in Nebraska. If you're in that area and you want to get some good top-notch training, go check out Nebraska PPG. You want to get a hold of him, there's a link in the description. You can get a hold of him through his Facebook. Show is also brought to you by the Tri-State Skywalkers. If you're in the Indiana, Kentucky, or Ohio area and you want to join a flying club, they are an awesome flying club. I actually have their sticker on the back of my helmet. Yeah, join a club. It's a great idea. Also, I was talking to Brandon McCloud, and he took a pretty hard hit with his business because of the whole virus thing. And so he shifted gears, and he's making, what's the antibiotic, or not antibiotic, gosh, what's the, you pump the stuff in? Sanitizer. He's making sanitizer. So he shifted gears and now is producing sanitizer and bulk. And so if you are, I don't know if you're interested in getting a hold of him for that, or if there's a need somewhere with your business and you can't get a hold of it, I think he's making it. So
if you got a potty mouth and it's a real bad potty mouth, he'll get it cleaned out.
That's right. Sanitizer in the mouth.
Yeah.
Yep. Tom Sleepin is in the chat. He's been on the show. He's an ambassador of the sport. Awesome guy. Matt Cowan, Robert Michiels. You can also coach the police on questions to ask callers like, was the glider in a nice, pretty arc shape or in a messy ball? That's a great idea. Yeah. So we're talking about some random things that we can do to clean up the sport. And so any feedback from you guys, anything that you want to add or any questions that you have?
Yeah, I think something I try and do on a normal basis. I noticed a lot of people that are not paragliding pilots or paramotoring pilots, they think it's more of a scary sport, and it's an adrenaline rushing sport, more dangerous than it actually is. So whenever I talk to anybody about paragliding or paramotoring, I just try and reiterate like how safe it actually is for what it does. That way, when they see us out there, they don't think that we're, crazy pilots, daredevils, and that this is risky. I try and explain to them just how safe it is, just how safe we make it with the reserves we fly with, the conditions, the weather, and how we watch it. Whenever I talk to anybody about what's that?
I think somebody was feeding back.
Yeah, I think just, showing everybody, telling people if people aren't familiar with the sport, then I don't usually talk about accidents. And like I tell my flying crew, like if there's a new person out there, like don't be talking about the crazy thing that somebody did and give somebody the wrong impression. Tell them about what general sport is, which is, how safe and enjoyable it really is to do and how much precaution we actually take as pilots. And I noticed that has a good effect on people, and they're a lot more willing to take tandem flights and are a lot more interested in the sport once they find out that it's normal, that a lot of the people that actually do paramotoring are over 50 years old. It's pretty common, pretty safe, pretty mellow sport, actually. You actually have the ability to make it thrilling depending on what you're going for. But in general, most of us are just going to fly for the enjoyment of flying.
Yeah, that's the main thing is like we don't have to fly. Very rarely do you actually have an incentive to go fly. I think it's happened 2 or 3 times since I've been flying in 3 years. One was because a guy threw a pretty expensive glider. He's remote control airplane, and it lost connection, lost the binding or whatever, and it just went and crashed somewhere down the bottom of Blossom, and it was on the side of the hill. I mean, there's a lot of property. When you're flying around over that mountain, you can look down and think, oh, that's nothing. You can find that airplane. No, that's a needle in a haystack. And so we were flying back and forth, and one of the guys spotted it for the RC guy, and he was able to retrieve it. But very rarely do. This is for leisure. We do this for fun, you know. We are going to talk about reserves. Mom, thank you for your $20 contribution to the super chat. You are awesome. And I'm going to continue claiming you as my mom. Thank you. Here's a question from Racing with Paramotors. Robert, can you ask about PPG hang points, opinions, and experiences? I don't know much about hang points. Might be a good question for Andrew Fuller or some of these other paramotor crazies. Anthony Peregringo is in the air. I don't know if he can hear us.
Call it the crotch cam. He's using the crotch cam.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's where he's got it mounted. It's sitting right there, pointing right in his face, like,
yeah. There was a question that came up about Andrew Fuller's. It's called the Angel, right? They asked, and it was an older video, but they were asking about how they can find out more details about your gear.
SkyTapParamotors.com, or they can find me on Facebook or YouTube.
Perfect. So yeah, go check out the website, and if you're watching tonight and your question is pressing, you can ask in the chat and I'll ask him myself. But if not, you can reach out to him on the Facebook or his website. Thanks, Bob. Bob donated $5 to the super chat. He says it's as dangerous as riding a motorcycle on a closed course. Yeah, so we've got some good stuff in front of us if we will just self-manage a little bit. Problem is that people's mentality is, I'm gonna do what I want until they make a rule, and then we go, oh, well, there's a rule for that, and then we say, okay, let's try to break that rule, and then we try. It's almost like we need to have rules made for us. Well, that's what I love about this sport, is that we don't have to have rules made for us. We manage ourselves. And so this is why the conversation tonight, and I know it's one of those conversations that's not exactly the funnest thing to talk about, but it must be talked about. So let's move on to reserve tossing, shall we? The very first thing I want to say is go back to the episode where I interviewed Brad Ganuscio. It was the first episode. One of you guys can maybe remind me of what episode it was, but Brad Ganuscio did almost the whole show on throwing reserve. He said that when a guy throws a reserve at his SIV, it's like a party when they come in from the boat and they're soaked and their gear's soaked, and this is a badge of honor. It's not a time for disappointment. It's not a time to say, oh man, I got humbled, or I'm stupid, or because I'm not a good pilot. There's going to be situations where you're going to end up throwing. The guy that ended up throwing here recently, this guy's a veteran. He's been flying before paragliding was even a thing. People didn't even know what paragliding was, and he was flying paragliders and going cross country, and then fast forward being involved in competitions. And I mean, guy's been around the world.
That would be episode 90.
90 with Brad Ganuscio.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
when we talk about, and also episode 26 was the first time. Is that right, Craig Taylor? Just put that in the private chat. Thank you, sir. So both of those episodes, he talks about reserve tossing. That Brad Ganuccio's thrown, I think he said 8 times. That I know he's thrown more than that, but 8 times where he actually needed it, like not just messing around. So he does. I don't think he remembered how many he's actually thrown, but where he actually needed, I think it was like 8 times. It's crazy. So it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing to throw. I have not. Charlie Walsh asked, have you tossed? No, I have not. I did have a Cascade event over Palomar, but I was at 6,000 feet and I was able to sort it out before I ended up hitting the deck. I think I lost about 1,000 feet and it happened really fast. The G's are extreme. And from what I've picked up from other people, and again, I'm talking third person, so if take my advice with a grain of salt. But one of the main things that I hear is that when you're G'd out and you're like sucked into your seat, sometimes you can't even barely keep your head from going back into your harness. And you're dealing with some really weird scenarios. Your arms feel like they weigh 100 pounds. I was just trying to maintain. And it was insane how strong just gravity was against me. So I can't imagine what it's like to actually have to reach down. It's so foreign to be able to grab a handle under your seat and throw it out. But if you can keep your mind frame, if you can keep your mindset right to throw it into an open place, into the open sky, from what I gather, as you're in a rotation, it instantly wants to go right into the lines. And I've seen this on a few times. A lot of guys will fly with 2 reserves, especially the acro guys. And there's a reason for that. You start getting G'd out. You can't even lift your arm barely. And you throw that reserve, it goes right into your wing, and then you're burnt on that one. You got to try to fix it or go to your other reserve. And it's just, so anyways, if you can with a mindset, and again, I'm talking mainly free flight. It's obviously going to be for both, especially for guys that are flying more acrobatic wings. I don't know how. Maybe Andrew, maybe you can answer on that. Is there a comparison where you're flying an acro wing that doesn't necessarily like to come back open automatically? It's faster. There's more G's involved. There's more. It wants to dive more. Maybe talk a little bit about the differences between a spicy cross country wing and an acro wing.
Yeah, kind of the rule with acro wings is if you're in a riser twist and the wing starts to go down like it's going to spiral, you throw immediately. And the reason you do that is because acro wings have a lot more G-force spinning around, and they'll spin around so fast that they'll collect your reserve. So you'll toss your reserve out, but the wing will just come right back around and wrap it up. So that's why a lot of people fly with 2. The first one will slow down the wing from spinning enough so you can get the other one out before it collects it again. But yeah, there's a massive difference in the G forces you feel in a spiral and an acro wing than a conventional wing. So,
interesting.
But yeah, I share the same mentality from you, and I got it because my first SIV instructor and one of the most influential pilots in my career, one of the people I probably learned the most from, is Brad Ganuccio, and I've been there. I've seen it happen where people toss and they come in and everyone's clapping and cheering them on and helping them out, and it's great. You know, it does a lot for people. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I plan on at some point taking an SIV. It's just one of those things where, you got to weigh out your all the expenses that are involved, and it is what it is. Not everybody's rolling in dough, but it would be really nice to have that opportunity to go and maybe do a couple SIVs and work out some of those kinks. There's obviously going to be situations that there's not much you can do, but it would be nice to know what you can do.
Mhm.
And I think that's where SIVs come in. And when I first started flying and hearing about SIVs, all I wanted to do was buy a new wing. I wasn't thinking about, you know, spending the money to get an SIV, and I was kind of defending not getting an SIV. But the more I fly and the more that I'm seeing situations come up, I would really like to know more about my wing than I know now. You can find stall point, be a foot off the ground, play around at launch. You know, Blossom sometimes will have like a good solid 10-mile-an-hour wind, and you can levitate. And I'll get a foot off the ground, and then I'll just pull the brakes as far as I can just to see how far that wing will take before it starts into a backfly and then just land on the ground. Those are things I think you can do. You can learn a lot about your wing by kiting. And this goes obviously for both. If you can get a hold of a training harness and get your wing and go and practice in the park, get a little time underneath your wing before you like one thing that I'll do sometimes is a guy will be on launch and they'll say, "Hey Rob, you want to fly my wing?" And this happened just a week or two ago. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down, man. Let me check it out." And so I before I fly their wing, I pull it up and I kite it and check it and play with it a little bit and see how far I can go in the brakes. Obviously these are fundamentals, but there's nobody really talks about this stuff. Like nobody really said, "Hey, it's a good idea to kite before you fly." I think it's critical to be able to do it. Critical to be able to know what your wing's doing. So yeah, SIVs, awesome. About reserve tossing, lightweight is not always good. And again, I'm talking to free flight people. The size, consider your size. Don't just say, "I'm going to go on Facebook garage sale paragliding gear and just buy the first reserve that you find." Talk to your instructor, consider your weight range, and get yourself into something that is, and this is my just off the cuff recommendation. Buy something that's a little bit heavier than you need. So if you fly all up at 90 kilos, get the 100 kilo. Again, you need to talk to your instructor and consider what I'm saying. These guys will buy smaller reserves, and when you come down on a small reserve compared to maybe something that's more designed for your actual weight, yeah, you might survive, but it's going to still hurt. You're still going to pound in. And particular where the one guy pounded in, and last year we had a guy over Palomar, same thing. You're coming in hard, man, and you're coming in. You need a PLF. If you don't know what a PLF is, I want to encourage you to do a little research in skydiving. Everybody here know what a PLF is?
Nope.
Really? Okay,
Nope.
PLF. Anybody else not know? So it stands for parachutal landfall. And there's an episode where Phil Russman does parachutal landfalls where he jumped off a chair and landed and then went into a roll. Keep your knees together, you keep your feet together, and your knees bent just a little bit, and you keep your hands in. And I remember a guy telling me, this was one way I first started getting into paragliding. He goes, "There's going to be situations where you're gonna get wound up, and if you do have to throw and you have to go into the parachutal landfall," he goes, "keep your hands in." He says, "A lot of times you can survive without breaking anything if you keep your hands in. But what we want to do is put our hands out for a balance purpose. And then what happens a lot of times is you break your arms, one or the other. And that's where a lot of wrist injuries, a lot of arm injuries, and you might have survived and not even, you could walk away with just some minor bumps and bruises, but you broke your hand because you had it out. Keep your hands in and keep your knees bent." Yeah, Russman doing that PLF was amazing. I couldn't have paid for that. It was absolutely insane. I was so excited for that. Yeah. So, anyways, parachute landfall when you're coming in under reserve, bend your knees a little bit, keep your hands in together. And what you want to do is you want to go feet, then hip, then shoulder, and then obviously your head. So if you're coming in super hard, maybe do a little research on that and study that out. I think it's critical that you know these things. And I know they sound like they're fundamental, but you have to have these things ingrained in your mind so you can survive some of these events. I know you guys keep on cracking up in the background, and I know it's because we've got some amazing comments. So I haven't looked at any of the comments yet.
It's
some good ones, huh?
It's pretty funny because when you have such an unsuspecting group of loyal followers,
very talented loyal followers.
Yeah. And if any, yes, Sean, thank you. And if any of them didn't catch that there is not a wheel tonight, and that the best chat is gonna get picked, it makes it even funner. But yeah, we're kind of having a good time listening to this as well.
There was probably only like 40 or 50 people logged on when I announced it. So if they don't know, the funniest comment's going to win the prize tonight instead of spinning the wheel.
Yeah, I think we have a couple top 3 that you may have to pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, I'll take a look at those in a minute. Glad you're here. Anthony Paragliding.
Yo, what's happening? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. It's working.
Loud and clear.
Dude, we are a couple hundred yards from the border, baby. I can smell the tacos. Where's Kylo?
Nice.
Where's Kylo?
Who you flying with? You by yourself?
No, Michiels Delorio.
Oh, nice.
Ugly Raptors crew. So there's some graded steel. It's pretty nice. Got a lot smoother, really butter right now.
Oh, nice. Is there no thermals right now?
We took off about 5:45, and we had a couple bumps, but now it's just cool. My hands are getting cold.
Oh,
I'm in
wow.
shorts.
Nice.
For the guys in Ohio, sorry, but I'm in shorts.
Enjoy it.
Yep.
Nice. Hey, I'm gonna get ready to land here. So
Yeah.
guys have fun. I'll have to watch the rerun.
Yeah. All right, man. Be safe up there.
All right, see you guys.
All right, see you, man. Pretty amazing stuff. Anthony Paragliding. Yeah, so any other did I get any questions while I was rambling? While I was ranting? I got a couple of text messages. How we doing on the contest? Do you want to give it away? Let's pull up these
I could re-simplify them for you if you want, but I think that input from the panel might be good too.
Okay, yeah, you guys narrow it down. Brian Richard, hey Robert, just so you know, Josh Bowden got. Oh no! Oh no! That is hilarious. I flew Josh Bowden's his wing, his motor and wing setup. And Brian Richards said, hey, Robert, just so you know, Josh Bowden got super drunk the night before the Salton Sea and puked all over the motor that you flew the next day, in case you were wondering about the smell and the chunks. I thought it was normal to smell like that.
Oh.
009290 said, ask Anthony to throw his reserve. I should have asked him. Too late. Amazing.
Is he flying at Blossom?
No, he is. I think he launches from his front yard. He lives in Otay Mesa, which is really close to the border. Yeah, not really from his front yard, but somewhere really close to his house.
I gotta say, Erin's doing a great job putting the third degree on you in the chat room, talking about she does your laundry and she takes care of your children. Now, let's not mention she washes your socks. She hasn't gone. She hasn't gone to the underwear yet, but I know that's coming.
Yeah, she does wash those. That's true.
But does she do it by hand though?
No. I got a good washing machine.
It doesn't count then.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Totally doesn't count. Sorry, Erin, that doesn't count. Well,
Mark Amundsen is in here. Welcome.
Right.
So this is the right now the comments. I'm reading through the comments right now.
See, that's the advantages of you being the host, because all the pressure's on you. We've done our part of posting everything that we think and have deemed worthy of a winner. And
my mom said, "Is there a limit on reserves? Like, is there such a thing as too much money?" Tom
There might be a
Kubat
limit how
says,
many you could take up with you. I mean, you got that much weight.
yeah. Tom Kubat said, "We don't have to fly?" ? Speak for yourself, bruh. Oh, that's great. What's that name?
Napa Cat Tang Chitnoob.
Okay, good job. Paragliding is just like sex. When it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's still good. Oh, that's a good one. That could be a t-shirt.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah. Wow.
That's my vote right there. That one there is my vote.
Tom Kubat for the center square, please. That's funny. Robert Michaels is a very nice person and an easy on the eyes, if you know what I mean, right, Grandma? CT shoot fire. Oh, that's so funny. Jim Furman, fly it if you got it, but if you don't have to post videos flaunting your flights. Fly it if you got it, but you don't have to post videos flaunting your flights. Okay. Crockett, keep the comments clean. I think he was talking to me. I don't know why. Crockett, I was talking to you. Oh, that's great.
You see, we've had a very hard job here.
Yeah, because you guys, you're not paying attention to anything. You're going to have to go back and watch this because there was some really good stuff in here tonight. Hey,
I'm doing the best I could. I was like, okay, this is what I got, what y'all got. And then, So all the pressure is on you tonight, Robert.
That's right.
So who's going to win this show?
By the way, the show is brought to you by iFly Indiana, Power Paragliding. iFlyIndiana.com is the website. Kevin and his team will get your feet off the ground. If you're going to get some training, you should do it through them. Also, the show is brought to you by Lone Star Paramotor. Lone Star Paramotor is in the Lone Star state of Texas. Ron Turan has an amazing school there. Check them out on their website, link in the description. Show is also brought to you by Torrey Pines Glider Port. Go check out their website at flytorrey.com. Amazing place to fly. If you want to learn how to fly and you want to just get it done in the most beautiful place on the planet, Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines. I wish their website was torreypines.com, but it's not. It's flytorrey.com. Link in the description.
Did you say that they took Flavor Flav tandem? Max Marion.
Are you serious?
Took Flavor Flav tandem, yeah.
No way. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
When was that? Recently?
Oh, it was probably no more than 2 months, but pre-COVID. How's that?
Wow.
Robert's very disappointed. He wanted an autograph.
Yeah, Flavor Flav. I'd give him a high five.
Robert wanted an autograph. It would have been like, oh, I got to get some footage of this. Hey, just say paraglidingtalk.com for me, will you?
Yeah, he was pretty hot in the 90s, late in the 90s.
Let's get him on the show.
Yeah. Flavor Flav. Yep.
So regarding reserves, there's two funny things I've heard over time. And one was from another instructor. It said, how long do you have to throw your reserve once things get messy? And the response is
the rest of your life.
The rest of your life.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the other one is somebody pulled it on me, and I just actually got to pull it the other day. I was letting somebody kite with my acro harness, which has 2 reserves in it. They're heavy. The thing probably weighs about, over 40 pounds. And he's like, how much is this setup? And I'm like, it's close to $3,000. And I actually have 2 of the same setup. I have 2 acro 3s, both with dual reserves. And he's like, God, why do you spend so much money on just the harness? And I was like, because I'm worth it,
Because I'm worth it.
$2,000 in reserves.
That's right.
I'm really scared I'll put a 3rd one on there and make it even more expensive.
Yeah. Because I'm worth it. That's Steve Nowak. That's his I think you're worth it. That's what he'll tell you. I think you're worth it.
I like that.
You get a good wing. I think you're worth it. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I do have to share something that I think is pretty amazing. Jim the Anvil Needhart. This is, it turned into a video. Darn it. There
Did he send that to you?
Oh, yeah. That can definitely be your brother.
That's messed up. Is that my twin, guys?
Dude, he's freaking yoked.
He says that's my twin brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it is.
That's you photoshopped.
I like that.
Yeah, I definitely know that's you photoshopped. That's what it is. The neck. Hey, wait till you was tan. Right at the neck down. He's like, oh, we'll put a little Arnold here. A little bit of what do you got? That the truck lifter guy over here. We'll put his head right there.
That's just
Don't
because
give him no ideas, Sean. That'll be his new sticker he makes of himself.
Because all the barbershops are closed, so I had to do the Corona cut and do it myself. So
yeah,
he did a great job, man. I'm just saying,
Did you use the flow bead or did you use the weed eater?
I was using my phone as a thing to see the back.
Nice.
Instead of a handheld mirror.
Speaking of Floby, did you guys know that the Floby guy manufactures a paramotor?
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Did you give you a haircut?
I swear, and it's all plastic, like it's all plastic mold injection. It's actually a pretty strong frame. I haven't seen too many of them out in the wild, but yeah, Floby guy is apparently a paramotor guy that manufactured his own frame.
No,
we got to get him on the show one night. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a hair cutting device to paramotors.
Uh-huh.
No kidding.
And this would be a good time during the COVID thing too, because no one can get haircuts right now.
Yeah.
You got a lot of tinkers that are bored from being stuck in their house, so things are bound to happen.
You ought to be a deal. You buy a paramotor, you get a free Floby with it.
Yep.
Tonight we're going to give away a Paragliding Talk sticker. Paraglidingtalk.com sticker. By the way, if you want to support the show on Patreon or PayPal, there's a link in the description. For the price of a cup of coffee or so, you can support something that will teach you something that might save your life. Or maybe you're not even watching the show and you just want to contribute because you want to help make pilots safer. Because people are going to come watch this and they want to learn. By the way, gosh, it's crazy how many people are watching. I think I've seen it over 100 tonight. This is just an organic show. No, nothing, no special people, just us. And so you guys are awesome, man. Really appreciate you being here. Love watching the chat. Just ding, 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 ding. You guys are awesome. So we're going to give away the Paragliding Talk sticker. I need to go back to, where's that chat at? I'm going to read through those one more time. I have to. Chat.
Boy, why is it got to be so hard?
It's pretty funny.
This should be easy, guys. Yeah, come on, let's do this. I was like, all right, let's do this.
We need to do one night just for the heck of it. You need to have Sean host the show and Robert run the wheel.
No, that would be chaos. It would be absolute.
I would just be there like this. Oh gosh.
It gives
See, that's exactly how I would be as a host.
Yeah.
It gives
you can host, Sean.
New appreciation for Sean filling those names in the wheel. Maybe we should add some pork to that bowl of rice.
Yeah, now we're talking pork, baby. Daddy like. Yeah.
Kind of different. Do the congressional way, add pork to everything.
I'm nominating
Maybe
Brian Richards' comment.
maybe a little
What was
bit of
Brian
bacon.
Richards' comment?
That he threw up before you got on it. Threw up on the motor.
Oh, wait, the one where he threw up on the motor before I flew it. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, but Erin's not on the show, and she's not on the show. So if she was on the show, then that would count.
But listen, she's watching.
You're in trouble.
She's watching the show.
Oh, you're in trouble now. Oh boy. I'm glad she ain't watching my underwear and socks.
She never watches the show. She's watching the show in the other room, obviously.
Oh, man.
Yep. That's pretty funny. She won't admit it, but she is.
Shit, so she's cyber stalking.
She's lurking. That's what we call that, lurking. By the way, I know there's people in the chat right now that are lurking.
How do you say that? Cyber stalking. What is that? Ghosting. She's ghosting. She's so ghosting. Oh,
so she always lurks in the shadows. That's what she's saying. She always lurks.
Now she's gonna get mad and start throwing tomatoes and cabbage at you.
I found it, Andrew, the Renegade.
Yes. Yep, that's the one.
Can you share it do the screen share? I'm interested.
Yeah, I can.
It's strong, man. It's a really strong frame. It's all plastic, but it's tough.
Yeah, I didn't share it because it says out of stock. So, but the only place I could find it is, not to go with a free plug or anything here, but
yeah, he will pay eventually.
It's coming. Here you go.
Oh wow, 5G. Yeah. That's affordable.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's all plastic, or it looks like the outer spars are aluminum?
The spars are plastic.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
wild.
Like spars that are plastic.
What a trip.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
how long ago they built that?
You want sponsorship? You want to sling your gear on here? Reach out to me. Go to the website, paraglidingtalk.com. Look up.
Robert needs a motor bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
He needs to fly with the rest of us.
My wife is blowing up.
What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah, that
means Robert's in for it later.
She's like, I am watching. I do watch.
I see a lot of stuttering in there, so they must be worked up pretty good. I usually get the stuttering on that keyboard, well, if I'm using my phone, but even type it sometimes I get the cat. It happens. We love you, Aaron. It's all good.
Mark Amundsen said more stories from Andrew.
Yeah.
Which kind?
We'll call it Fuller
put them on a
time.
spot like that. You gotta. They have to come natural. You can't tell somebody, "Hey, tell a story."
She's giving tips, Robert. She's spending your money.
Oh,
ouch!
Whoa!
That was my toilet paper for this show. Ugh.
She just bought vowels for that sentence.
She bought vowels. I like to buy a vowel. Freaking give away all your money,
one
bro.
One of those Paragliding Talk stickers for our boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll send you this one. And here's the other one that we're going to give away tonight. I'm going to give the winner tonight a choice. So, okay, we're going to choose between, what's his name? Is it Brian? Did it make the cut? I was reading it. Shoot. Yeah, that comment about flying with the throw up on Josh Bowden's thing. I think that's the winner. We're gonna send that. We're gonna send that to Brian. Congratulations, Brian. You're the winner chicken dinner. You can choose. I'm gonna let you choose. You can either get a sticker, or you get an iron-on for a shirt or for your gear. And
Brian Richards.
Brian Richards.
Brian Richards. Hey, Robert, just so you know, Josh Bowden got super drunk the night before at Salton Sea and puked all over your motor you flew the next day. In case you were wondering about the smell and
Yeah.
the chunks, that's what it was.
That's what it was. Congratulations. You're the winner chicken dinner. By the way, I gave away a shirt last week. I haven't been able to ship it because I have to be able to buy a shirt, and I haven't bought one yet. And then I'm going to make it. I usually buy a handful of different sizes, and then so I make sure that I get the right size. Anyways, thank you guys. We're going to go to the after show. Really appreciate everybody that's been supporting the show, all the Patreons, all the supporters. We got some new guys. I hesitate to give him the promo because he doesn't have the website up yet, but this guy makes t-shirts and it's going to be amazing. So stay tuned. He's got flying t-shirts coming, and as soon as everything's set up, we're going to be giving away t-shirts, and we're going to be he's going to be selling t-shirts, and he's going to be a sponsor. So if you want to be a part of the after show, drop your information. When you put your information in the chat, it will blind the chat from knowing what your email is. The moderators then will have a choice to release that information, and they don't release it. So when you type in your email, so I can send you the invite, if you're a Patreon supporter, and you want to come on the after show, just drop a message in there and I'll send you an invite. And I'm going to send out the invites to all the regular people that normally join the after show. So appreciate you guys. Fly safe. And let's keep this thing going. Let's keep the sport the way it is. Self-manage. I know it sucks to think like, hey, we're gonna have rules. Listen, we'll decide what the rules are. We'll decide. We're gonna manage. We'll take care of ourselves. So we don't need anybody else, somebody outside of our paragliding world, to tell us what we can do and what we can't do. So, anyways. We'll see you guys in the next one. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in the air. And you guys have a good one.